joining me for the second class of our Sunday shift. Today we're going to focus on a lot of the upper extremity tension that might exist in your hands, forearms, shoulders, upper thoracic spine. This class was inspired from a friend of mine who commented that she should have been doing this years ago as she was sitting at her desk 8 or 10 hours a day. You know, it just starts to take a toll on our body, and I think many of us are in similar situations here with the pandemic, perhaps on our laptops or cell phones more frequently. And we need to learn how to just incorporate movement into our day. So this particular class you could probably do in sections. You don't necessarily need to do the whole 1 hour program, but you might find bits and pieces that appeal to you and that are useful to you at various points in the day. So let's get started. First, just tap into your breath. So close your eyes, place your hands to your knees, and just come into an awareness of your body, of your thoughts, perhaps a little bit of your posture, but most importantly, of the depth of your breath. Shallow breathing can create a sense of tightness and restriction. When we deepen that breath and expand into the intercostal muscles that line the rib cage, we create stretch. So you can use your breath during your day at the office, at home, to mobilize the breathing musculature. Besides feeling the lateral expansion, feel the front and back body. So the chest expanding and those lungs expanding into the back, lower lobes of the lungs, the air just creating a balloon-like effect, a helium-like effect. It's often useful to give your breath a tempo. So we could inhale for 5 counts and exhale for 5 counts. So exhale completely and then take a big breath in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just open your eyes. So come back to your breathing practice throughout your day, just to make sure that you're in a deep, full, inspired breath, rather than those short, shallow strategies that tend to put us in fight or flight mode and a little bit on edge. Drop one ear to your shoulder and be light, be gentle here. The neck can be very sensitive, particularly if you've spent a long time just staring in one direction. So if you haven't been moving in all planes of motion, to suddenly drop your ear to your shoulder could actually be a lot for your body. So go easy on it, just kind of test the waters there. Gently moving that head side to side. Good. And then pause. I'm going to my left, it'll be your right. You can extend the fingertips of the opposite side out a little further, just to gently increase that stretch. Sometimes just dropping the chin a little bit, a very, very small movement of exploration, of dropping the chin a bit, and then moving the ear back over the shoulder, and then returning yourself up. Opposite side, ear drops to shoulder, opposite hand reaches away. Pausing there, breathing there. And then your choice of adding just a little side-to-side movement of the chin dropping, ear moving over the shoulder. Good. And then bringing yourself back up. Just give yourself some gentle shoulder circles. So the second one I call the fist and the flare. It involves your forearm and your fingers So take one hand and with your thumb apply gentle pressure to the top of your forearm. Make a fist and then release the fist and flare your fingers. Do that one more time. Make a fist, feel the muscles of the forearm, and then flare. Slide your hand up a little higher on the forearm. Same thing, make a fist, hold for a couple of counts, and then flare the fingers. One more time, make a fist and flare. Good, one more set, a little higher. So it's like you're just gently massaging, applying a little bit of pressure to that forearm as you squeeze. A little pressure point therapy and release. One more time, make your fist and flare your fingers. Release from there, give that hand a little shake. And then we'll visit the opposite side, same idea. Hand over the forearm, make your fist, and flare the fingers, and fist, and flare. Traveling up the forearm a little bit more, applying that light to moderate pressure on the forearm, like you're massaging into those muscles, and then you're just getting the tendons of the fingers gliding back and forth, making that fist and flare. Good. And give that hand a little shake. And you can shake out both hands. It's helpful just to bring your hands out a little bit, shake them out. And then a little dog paddle up and down, just relaxing the muscles, joints of the fingers. And then release the hands, roll your shoulders back. Taking those fingers, let's do a finger split. So you're going to take one hand, and if you imagine at a keyboard, you're frequently flexing your fingers. We're going to do just the opposite of that and create light extension. So I'm going to use my right hand and thread it through my left, and just gently, that first finger, give it a slight bit of extension here. And then I'll move to the middle finger, a little slight split, extending that finger away from the rest of the hand, very light. And then the next one, just a gentle drawing back of that fourth digit. And then to the pinky. So this could be helpful if you've been keyboarding or texting for a while. And then do the same thing with the opposite hand. So my fingers just, my hand slides in and separates my first finger from the rest. And then the next, and I can just kind of think, counting 1, 2, 3. And then to the fourth digit, gentle extension again, moving my hand in the opposite direction where it's often working from. And then that pinky finger again, just gently bringing it back. And then a nice way to stretch your thumbs is to hook your thumbs back on your rib cage, much like we do with our lateral expansion breath. And pull, just very lightly, pulling through the thumb as it's hooked to your ribs. And then try to flare your fingers up and away a bit. So creating space in the fingers. And just holding that gentle stretch there, that web space between the thumb and first digit. Yeah. And then let that go. Shake it out. And do your dog paddle. And then just a wrist forearm stretch here, using the floor as our prop. Spread the fingers as wide apart as you can. Bring them down to the mat or ground. And just again, very gentle pressure. Being in that breath. Try to pull your thumb away from the other fingers if you can. And just hold for 3, and 2, and 1. Great job. And give that a little shake. Okay. One other one, a common elbow tendonitis, your tennis elbow and such. The one way to stretch that is to extend. We'll take the left arm, your right, out in front, and then just use your opposite hand for a little downward pressure through that forearm. Pausing to hold again. Should never feel numbness, tingling. opposite side, palm down, a little gentle overpressure, creating some length through the top of that forearm. And then the reverse of that, your right hand again, palm extended, a little flexion there of the wrist. And same thing on the opposite side. And I can tell my right one's a little bit more restricted. And one way to look at this is to bring your palms together and start to create a Y, or ideally, I should have my elbows together too here, a T shape of your palms. And as I've been practicing and kind of considering how to piece this class together, I am better now through the extensibility of my wrists than when I was when I first started. It's probably more here. But that can be a culprit. When we go to weight bearing on hands and knees, if you don't have good active range for that wrist, that can be painful. So you need to use caution there. And sometimes padding up your wrist might be useful for 4-point position. But that's just an easy movement again to work on the range of motion there of the wrist. So that then when you go and do gentle stretches like this, that'll just help you in creating a little bit more extensibility. Nice. Give it a shake, a little shoulder roll. Press the arms out like you're pressing the wall away from you. And bring them back in. One more time there. Press out. Take the palms down. And then take the palms up. One more time and press down. This is the radial nerve glide. Bring it back in. And then turn your palms up, reach it out. This accesses more of the median nerve as you flex and extend here through the wrist. And again, no tingling, no numbness, just a few reps will be great. And then bring it back in. And then make an A-OK sign with your fingers, or like you were British and drinking tea with a very active pinky finger. We're going to rotate to access gliding through the ulnar nerve. And again, everybody's range is going to be different with this. 4 or 5 reps, all you need. Just work that rotation. Mine's pretty limited there. Eventually, this movement in the therapy world comes to be what's called the Birdman. You work to rotate so much that you could actually bring your hands down towards the jaw and the fingers towards your face. But that's a pretty significant range of motion there and a pretty big stretch. So just for beginners and starting, just work this rotation, A-OK sign, little British T, back and forth. And then shake it out and let that go. Little doggy paddle, hands side to side. Good. And then rest that down. All right, take one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. Working into rotation here. So I have my right hand on my chest. I'm going to start to rotate my chest to the right, but I want to keep that palm on my belly very still. So I'm only rotating head, shoulders, chest, stabilizing with that left side to gently draw back. And then come back to the center. This is what we term thoracic rotation. So we want the rotation to happen and above that rib cage. So bottom rib and up, navel center and up rotating, not the low back, not the hips, and come back to the center. Let's switch. Okay, opposite hand on top. The hand that's on top, rotate to that side. Try not to let the bottom arm move and feel how it's stabilizing as you rotate the top half of your body. And come back to the center. So this is a method to tap in a bit more to that mid-back, upper thoracic spine. Again, I'm not forcing my head and neck. It just kind of comes along for the ride there. And then back to your center. Good. Eagle arms. So switch the cross of the legs. We've been here for a while. So switch the cross. Take the arms out in front. Carry your that you interweave those hands together. Now, if this is too much for you, arm under elbow, just go to hands to shoulders. That's a nice place as well to create a little bit of scapular protraction, a gentle stretch. Or you could have more of the back of the palms towards each other. We'll rotate to your left and just find that same twist you did earlier. Uncross the hands so your right arm comes across to your left knee. Back left arm, pick it up by your ear and take a forward bend out over your right thigh. Allow that arm just to cross, deeply scoop the belly back, and you'll notice the arms now are in an X shape. Float them back up, and now you have eagle arms for the opposite side. Nice breath in. Exhale, twist. Relax the hands. Hand to that front knee. Back arm by your ear. Take a lateral side bend out and over. Hand wraps to the front knee. Body squares itself. Belly pulls back. Little resistance there. And then again, float the arms back up, either to your eagle arms or just hands on your shoulders. Nice breath in as you rotate. Think chest rotates to the side. Uncross the arms, feel that tall spiral, so keep lifting. Back arm by your ear, side bend out and over that front thigh. Hand wraps again, deeply scoop the belly back, relax the shoulders. Float the elbows, arms up. We're going to the opposite direction. Again, it can just be hands on the shoulders, reaching those elbows forward a bit, rotate, upper body. Uncross the hands, use them for a little leverage to sit up taller. Back arm lifts by your ear, and then side bend out and over that front leg. Last time here, hand wraps. Draw the belly back, create that large letter C shape, head to tail. And then release the arms and just bring them behind you. Take your fingertips behind you, lift your heart, lift your gaze, create an upper back arc. You'll hear me talk about that a few times in our class today. We don't want to do the back bending so much from the lumbar spine, especially when we're looking for just a release from that tight upper thoracic from hunching over your steering wheel or your keyboard. I want to try to promote upper back arc, a little arch, and then release from there. Great. Okay, so already that might have been about 10 minutes of your finger exercises, a little neck side to side, some subtle rotation here. That in and of itself might be helpful for you at work or at home. The second part here, take the hands to your front knees. So much like we were just talking about, strong front arms help to lift the front body up, creating that sense of lift and arc, but again, trying not to overly bend the low back. So I'm trying to create excursion up towards the ceiling, breathing there, holding there. Good. And then let go from there. Bring the hands behind your head. Press the head into the hands. Okay, that's going to help you strengthen the back of the neck a bit. And then continue to create the arc of the gaze, the nose, the throat, the breastbone picking up a bit, but not at the expense of overly arching your low back. Great. And then release from there. Bring your hands, let's clasp them and just reach the elbows by the ears, straighten the arms there. One more time, find that lift, find the arc. Breathing. And then let that go. Bring the hands behind your low back and take your feet out in front. So same idea, pick up the heart, roll the shoulders back, Feel like you're squeezing a pencil between your shoulder blades, and just let the hips and knees rock a little bit here side to side. Okay. If your wrists bother you, you could do this on your fists as well. But still keep that little squeeze of your shoulder blades, a little rock here side to side. And then come back to the center. Bring your fingers forward, roll your shoulders back, and take a reverse little tabletop pose here. So curling, lifting, hugging that pencil, and just bring the gaze straight out in front to where the wall and the ceiling meet. Breathe there. Hinge at your hips and lower yourself back down. We'll do that one more time. Nice stretch for the shoulders, heart opener. Check in with the elbows. Don't hyperextend the elbows. Feel that mid-back working to lift. Yes, your arms will be straight. Glutes are working to lift. And hinge at your hips and lower yourself back down. Very good. All right. Moving on, let's move to all fours. So if you need to pad the knees up with the blanket, do so. Come to hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees under the hips. Pull the heart forward and create cow pose here. So we have extension throughout the spine. And then reverse that, find flexion from the head through the mid-back, through the low back. Inhale into your extension, pull your heart forward, shoulders down your back. And exhale, lift the belly, curl. 2 more times. Inhale into your extension, moving slowly, moving thoughtfully. Tuning in to some of those smaller, deeper muscles. Here in that flexion, deeply draw your belly and ribs into you. Set your hips back on your heels. We'll do a moving cat. Extend your spine, pull your heart forward. Exhale, lift and curl. Take your hips back. Extend your tailbone, bring your heart forward. One more time, exhale and curl. Pressing back. And draw yourself back to your starting position. We're moving to puppy pose. So in yin yoga, it's called heart melting pose. The more active version, which we're doing today, you're going to feel like you're lifting up on your shoulders, lifting up on your elbows. So step the hands out in front. Try to keep your hips at 90, so hips and knees at 90. Allow your chest to start to melt through those active arm bones, but keep the ribs lifted, keep the belly lifted, so you have not just completely sagged into the low back, bringing your forehead down to the mat. Big breath here. It's a very active pose. I'd say it's more challenging than down dog, at least for me, because I have tight shoulders, I have a tight upper back. This calls my attention to it more so. Good. And then bring yourself back up and slide your forearms underneath you. So we're going to bring both forearms in front of the chest and narrow them up on your elbows. You can make fists here. Nice breath in. As you exhale, start to let your hips settle back. Your hands can come up towards the crown of your head, and you'll find a nice shoulder blade stretch here. Take 2 or 3 nice deep breaths. Allow the head to be heavy. Your head can kind of nestle between your arms. Great. And then return those forearms back to the earth and separate them shoulder width apart for dolphin pose. Curling the toes under, drawing the belly up.
Just start to lift, and this is more reminiscent of your down dog. Allow the head to be heavy. Press through those strong arms. And again, feel a little pencil between the shoulder blades. Pressing the ground away. Holding here for 3 and 2 and 1. And then settle those knees back down. Bring your feet together, knees apart, and just take a little child's pose. Maybe you just want to bring your hands under your forehead, perhaps wrapping your hands to your feet. And then bring yourself back up to a seated position. So, like we were a few minutes ago, come back to that cross-legged sit position. If you can recall, switch the cross of the legs. Probably whichever one feels more uncomfortable is the leg that should be in front. And we're going to go back through that heart opener again, pressing the arms into the knees, lifting the chest, feeling that upper body gently arc. And then release the hands, take them behind your head, press the head into the hands, feel a little lifting, a little arcing of that upper back. Head pressing into the hands, breathing there. Good. Coming back to neutral. Step 3, take the arms up overhead, clasp them, hug the elbows in towards your ears. Slide the heart, the throat, the nose, the gaze up slightly. Good. And then come back to the center. Release the arms. One more time. Take them behind you. Take your feet wide, fingers face away. Go back to your gentle windshield wipers here, left and right. And then narrow up your feet. The first time we did our reverse tabletop, we had our fingers forward. I should say, use whatever position feels most suitable for your arms. I have healthy shoulders, so I like to vary the position a bit. I'm going to turn my fingers back, still squeezing the pencil, still lifting the heart, floating the hips up. Pausing, looking to where the wall and the ceiling meet, feeling strong through the center. For 3, and 2, and 1, and then lower your hips back down. Very good. All right, one more time. Find your all fours. We'll do that puppy pose combination one more time. So as I was saying before, down dog may seem like the bigger pose, but if you're tight in the shoulders, tight in the back, you might feel a stronger reaction to this lower position. Again, no numbness, tingling. You take care of your body. Reach the arms out in front. Make adjustments as you need to. Some people will find it helpful as you start to actively lift the arms and elbows and to settle the forehead towards the mat. If the ground feels far away, you might find that a block underneath your forehead serves you. You're letting the chest melt. You can make adjustments as you need. Perhaps you just need to bring those elbows down to the earth. The work of keeping the arm bones lifted might be too much. Good. And then release your forearms. If you happen to have a block, rather than just going forearms on the mat, you could place your elbows on the block and take a nice shoulder stretch here. As you drop the hips back, the hands come towards the nape or the crown of the head. Pausing, breathing there. Remember the other version that we did, forearms parallel, fists grounded. and then setting the hips back. And then as the hips go back, the arms start to lift again towards the crown of the head, creating a nice sense of excursion of movement underneath the shoulder blades, head and neck relaxed. Breathing there. Great. And then release the arms back down. Separate them shoulder width for dolphin pose. Much like down dog, take a couple of shoulder blade flosses here. So let the heart melt and drive the ground away a few times. And then we want to use the position of strength, which is pressing the ground away. Curl your toes under towards that plank shape, and then gradually start walking your feet in, head heavy and down. Activate through that mid-back instead of letting my shoulders migrate down and actively driving the ground away. Nice. And then rest back down to those knees. Relax the hands. Take a little child's pose. Hands can just come under your forehead, or they can wrap around to your feet. Find what suits your body and breathe here. And then bring yourself up. All right. So moving on, let's go onto our belly now. Prone extension. So resting on our stomach is not something we do a lot as adults. However, it can be really useful for releasing tight muscles. Just kind of takes us out of the position of sitting at the desk or wherever you might find yourself during the day. Chances are it's not on your stomach. And by going here, we open up the front of the hips, which notoriously get tight from too much sitting. Let's begin with the hands under your forehead, all 10 toes on the mat. And take a little baby head lift. So just a small float, a subtle chin ramp, and I'm not looking up because looking up here is going to shorten the back of my neck. Instead, I want to feel a lot of length from that kind of cervical thoracic region through the crown of the head. So we'll work that lift and lower a few times. Lifting the head, pulling the breastbone forward, lengthening the body, all 10 toes anchored to the earth. 2 more times here, just lowering and lifting. And then rest your head on your hand. Bend your right knee. So it's like a hamstring curl. We're going to add to this a quadricep stretch. Take your right hand to that right ankle or foot and just gently deepen that stretch. Still try to press the pubic bone into the mat. When you're tight in your hips, it's very easy for the bottom to lift. Instead, try to lift the abdominals and find a more neutral position here as you stretch that right quadricep. Carefully release that right leg. Try not to let it just sling out of your hand. And then pick up the opposite. So hand to ankle or foot. Check in that that knee is still in line with your body. It hasn't rotated to the edge of the mat. And again, work the neutral pelvis. So notice if your hips want to lift and low back arch. Try to instead reach long through that low back even as you draw the heel in. You can always do a little active press the foot into the hand. A little release there. Good. And then again, release that leg back down. Propping up onto your forearms for Sphinx pose. Find that same shoulder blade floss, so let your shoulders relax and sag, and then find the energy, drive the ground away. Shoulders relax and sag. Press energy away. Press and hold this shape. Find a breath that activates the low belly, that helps you lift the ribs. You pull the heart forward. There's a subtle degree of traction, drawing those elbows slightly back. Good. One more nice deep breath here. Opening the shoulders. You can still find that imaginary pencil. Try to squeeze through your shoulder blades a bit. Activate the back body. Rest yourself back down to your hand again. We're going to do the quad stretch one more time. Right heel bends in, or right knee bends, heel draws in. This time with the hand grasping that ankle, create a little upper body extension as well. Press your foot into your hand. Pause and breathe there. So creating upper back extension as well as hip extension. And then rest it all back down. Opposite side. And you can keep it low here. If you just prefer to do just a straight quadricep stretch, press the foot into the hand, create some muscular energy. But otherwise, lengthen through the breastbone and create that kind of low cobra shape of the upper body. All this helping to open the front line of the body that might get kind of closed or curled in our seated positions. And then relax that leg, rest it back down. Rest your head. Just turn your gaze to one side. Let your ear just rest there on your hands. And then turn and look to the opposite side. Pause there, rest there. And then coming back to the center. Meet me in hands and knees. So hands under shoulders, knees under the hips. Let's find our plank shape. Rotate the elbow creases forward. Feel strong through those shoulders and extend the legs back to your plank position here. Pause here and breathe here. Bend your knees. Press back into that down dog. Adjust the feet as you need to. Keep seeking to spiral your tailbone towards the sky. Press the chest to the thighs. And just kind of notice the difference between our puppy pose that we did earlier and our down dog, as well as our dolphin, right? They all have similarities there. Lift your heels and bend your knees. Look forward. Step to the front edge of your mat. Inhale, find a halfway lift. So nice flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, looking to those thumbs. And exhale, hands to heart center. So here in standing, a nice little shoulder spine warm-up motion. Take your shoulders through most of their range. Inhale the arms up and clasp your hands to your elbows here. Release the arms and do the same thing with the arms now to your low back. So this is internal rotation and adduction of the shoulders. Again, inhale, sweep the arms up, clasp the elbows, and let's add to this side bend to your right. Pick yourself back up and side bend to your left. And pick yourself up. Release the hands, take them down to your low back. Same thing here. Side bend to one side. And I should say, this is from Jenny Rawlings. She's a wonderful yogi. Look her up on Instagram or Facebook. She has a lot of little short snippets of movements that can be refreshing throughout the day. And then back to the center. Good. Inhale the arms up. Find your elbows. Now we're going into rotation. So to one side, just rotate your body. Inhale back to the center. Opposite side, find that rotation, really just the chest, shoulders, not getting the pelvis into it. And then back to the center, take the arms down low, same thing. You might notice too, like changing the cross of your hands if you're always leading with one side. Find your rotation with the arms low and center and rotate and center. Good, last one here. Sweep the arms up, clasp them, lengthen, and create that upper body arc again. So upper body extension. Bring your hands down low to your tailbone, clasp them, roll your shoulders back, lengthen through the crown of the head again. Couple of nice deep breaths here. And then release the arms, shake them out. All right, so we're gonna do a modified sun salutation that's specifically for the shoulders and upper body. So start at the front edge of your mat. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. As you exhale, bring the hands behind your head. Find your forward, your halfway lift. Inhale, reach the arms forward. Turn the palms out. Exhale, swim stroke them back behind you. See if you can clasp your hands, otherwise just leave them there. Take a forward fold, head heavy, arms can stretch up. Inhale, find that half flat back position again. Let go of the arms, swim stroke them forward. Bring them back behind the head, press the head into the hands, and find your way back up to standing. Relax the arms at your sides. Let's do that again. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands behind the head, bend the knees, forward fold. Or halfway lift here, I should say. Inhale, reach the arms forward, long levers, long arms here. Turn the palms out, swim stroke them back. Clasp the hands. As you exhale, take that forward fold, head heavy, arms maybe high, however they feel right to you. Inhale, back to that halfway lift. Knees are soft, back is straight. Release the arms. Sweep them back out overhead. Return them to the back of your head. And then stand yourself back up. And rest the arms down at your sides. Good. Let's do one sun A here. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to your plank. Okay, find that plank. Drop your knees, bend your elbows, and lower your belly back down to the mat. Okay, pause here. We've been here before. This time we're going to work the shoulder extension a bit. So make fists near your chest, elbows towards the sky, and begin extending those arms. And bend, and extend, and bend. A little chin tuck, forehead resting for 3, and press for 2, and press for 1, and then just rest those arms down. Bring the hands by your shoulders, elbows hugging into your sides like little grasshopper legs. Low cobra. Start to float your chest. Keep that little chin tuck here. Just pause there. So you're gazing down rather than forward. You're pulling the breastbone forward. Subtle traction of the hands. Hugging the elbows in. A lot of energy there. Lower yourself back down. One more low cobra. Drawing your heart forward, finding that length. Breathe in here for 3. And breathe for 2. And breathe for 1. Rest it down. Curl your toes under. Press yourself up and back. Find your down dog. Lift the heels and bend the knees. Step yourself forward, finding that halfway lift. Forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead and bring the hands back to heart center. Okay? So we're going to incorporate a lunge into our shoulder release. So we might want to use blocks here, that's an option. Let's just start with the left leg back into high lunge, and then gradually lower that knee down to the mat. Get a blanket if you need to pad the knee. Transfer, shift that weight forward, draw the belly in, drop the tailbone down, so you're going down the back and up the front here. And just let the left arm swing a little bit here, back and forth. Keep cultivating that subtle posterior tilt. So again, we haven't fallen into the back. There's still a sandwich effect. And then bring the left arm up in front. And we're just going to take a little glide to the right. Inhale, open, and exhale, glide across the body. And open the arm 2 more times there, and glide. And glide. Good, bringing it back. Bring that hand back behind you. Just take both hands, interlace them, and give yourself, again, a little shoulder blade squeeze, a little upward gaze, and release. Nice. Let's just switch the legs. So where my right knee goes back, left hip comes forward, and then a little wider stride than my usual 90-90 lunge. Cultivating those low belly muscles, drawing in so I don't just sag and arch. Create strength through the center, and start with just an easy swinging of that right arm back and forth. Light shoulder. Pick up the right arm and draw it across your body so you feel that shoulder blade start to kind of hug around you, and open it back up. And drawing, not twisting the lower body, it's just an upper spiral rotation. We did some of those earlier. Upper spiral, bringing it around. Good. 2 more times there. And bringing it across. And return. Very nice. Hands and knees, so bring both hands underneath your shoulders, knees under the hips. We'll take a little rotation here. Left arm out to the side. Inhale as you exhale, find a little spiral. Inhale back to the center. And exhale, driving through the ground to spiral the chest. And spiral, good. We'll thread the needle. That top arm laces underneath the opposite arm. Your ear can come down to the mat. You can pause and hold there. The top arm may reach out in front, but if it's uncomfortable, sometimes this arm serves as a nice kickstand, so you don't feel like you're putting a lot of weight through the neck and shoulder there. Good. Using that strong arm that's planted, it presses you back up to your start. And then reorganize, hands under shoulders. Opposite hand reaches away, and find just your spiral again. Okay? The hips and pelvis are staying quite square. We're trying to rotate thoracic rotation, that part of the upper back that gets stiff. Nice. And then thread the needle, reach it under. Your ear comes down to the earth. And you're still getting that gentle shoulder blade stretch. Another nice option is to clasp the hands here and just breathe. A little bit of energy reaching away will protract the shoulder blades. Great. Then take your top hand, use it to drive yourself back up. And then find your way to a kneeling position. Okay, so a lot of these positions we've done today have been to help open the front body in preparation for a pose called camel. So camel is initiating an upper body back bend. Depending on the day, some days just the foundation is all I need, and that might be what we do here because we're all kind of beginners in terms of our experience. So a nice foundational place to go here is to curl your toes under, draw the abdominals in. If you have a block, the energy is squeezing inward and lifting up the front and a bit of a down the back effect, so the tailbone reaching down. Take your hands towards your back pockets, draw the elbows towards one another, and start to lift your chest, your breastbone, your gaze, creating that upper body arc. You might find flat palms here works well, and just breathe here, promoting more of that upper back lifting versus lower back arcing. And then release. You can also do this with your toes flat. Okay. The ultimate pose has your hands coming back to your heels, creating this kind of semi-wheel effect. So I like to keep my heels up because they're that much closer to me. But again, just find that energy of standing, lifting up through the front of the body, dropping down the back, pressing the hips forward. Feel a bit of that engagement of your low abdominal muscles as you pick your heart up. So everything is supporting you. One more nice deep breath here. Great. And then release from there. Very good. All right. Meet me on your back. So come down to your back. If you have a block, keep it handy. It's not totally necessary. You can do this. We'll just do this with our free arms. We're going to take a little bit of a shoulder overhead. Inhale, pull the arms back behind you. And exhale, return the arms to the center. And again, inhale, reach the arms back behind you. And exhale, you can call these pullovers. One more time here. Inhale, arms reach back. And return all the way back home. Good. Let the arms rest at your sides. Roll to, I'm going to be on my left side. We're going to do both sides, so it doesn't matter which side you're on. But come to sideline. I call these open books. It's another upper body spiral. Hands can be one on top of the other. If your head's not comfortable on the ground, get you a pillow or blanket, roll it up a little bit. Knees are at least in line with your hips, maybe a little higher because the low body technically is not rolling. Inhale the top arm to the center, follow that hand with your gaze, and then let the arm gently open out to your side. Let's do this dynamically a few times. Inhale, pick up the arm, and exhale, close it back in. And again, inhale, top arm lifts. Follow it, exhale, open. Inhale, top arm up, and exhale, return. Good. On this last one, just pause there and hold that shape, fingers extending, T-shape of the arms. But again, no stress, deep breath. And then return your top hand back over the bottom hand for our clocks. So our shoulder clocks, just start to crawl your hand. I think of the Addams Family and that funny little hand that would run around as part of the Munsters. Try to keep it on the ground as you move from 3 o'clock up to 12 o'clock and then maybe towards 9. Just find here, you'll find a bit of a pec stretch to the chest. And then return. Make sure your fingers are in contact with the earth. Okay. Try it one more time. Take your time with it. So again, it may be during the day that you just want to come and do your open books and your wall clocks. They're not really on the wall. We do them on the wall as well, but on the ground. And then return everything back in. It just creates a lot of awareness of your body and on some of those smaller muscles. All right, so simply sit yourself up or roll yourself over to the opposite side. Arms out in front, head resting on a pillow or to the ground. Just make sure that you're comfortable there. Knees have a 90-degree or slightly higher towards your chest lift, and then work that upper body rotation again. Okay, so I'm not rotating from my low back. This is my rib cage and above. You could also do this with the hand behind the head. Maybe that long arm is just feeling like a little bit too much length to have to manage. So very nice just to go with hand behind the head, elbow bent. These are like movement snacks, not necessarily a huge meal, but small little movements throughout the day can reestablish some balance in your body. Last time here, we'll hold this one, bringing that gaze to the ceiling, pausing there, breathing there. Close it back up. And then find the hands of the clock. Right now, if I was looking at a clock, I would imagine mine are at 3 o'clock. They're going to start to crawl up till 12 o'clock. And then they're going to go back towards 9 o'clock. And just play with that movement a bit. And it's okay if your top thigh moves a little bit. When I was first taught this, the idea was to keep your femur bones completely level and still. So in that case, I really shouldn't move beyond here, because now my back pelvis hip wants to slide away and I lose something from that fixed point in the stretch. But again, it's exploratory movement. Just examining how it feels in relation to your body. Awesome. Good. All right. Right where you are, just roll onto your back. Center yourself here on your mat. Lift the arms up and just pick apples. Do an alternating shoulder protraction, a little reaching there to the ceiling, head resting on the earth. Good. Bring the arms back down. We worked a lot in opening the front body. A great way to end our workout today is with a bridge. Shuffle your shoulders a bit underneath you so that as you lift your hips, you could then clasp your hands underneath your backside and work to draw those shoulders under you, your shoulder blades hugging into the midline. Nice deep breaths here. I like to still cultivate those low abdominal muscles, drawing them in and up. Feeling all corners of my feet, big toe, 4th, 5th digit heel, actively pressing into the ground. And then release those arms and lower yourself back down to the mat. Good. Hug your knees into your chest. Make a couple of little circles here. And reverse. Replace your feet to the ground. Allow the legs just to extend. Your palms can be up or down. Moving into our Shavasana, our rest pose. We focused a lot today on the upper thoracic spine, on the shoulders, the forearms, the fingers. But now just let all that go. Allow your body to rest. You are welcome to continue resting here in your Shavasana. Otherwise, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Bend your knees and gently roll to one side and pause there. And then bring yourself on up to a seated position. Crossing your feet, your legs, hands can be to your knees. Give your body a minute to absorb the practice. To integrate. To feel its effects. I hope you will come back to this video at any point. Pick out a few sections that feel helpful for you. And maybe over time, they become more of a habit wherever you might be, at work, at home. Bring the hands to your heart. It's with much gratitude and sincerity that I wish you all a wonderful week, and that this practice has in some small way provided a shift, a subtle change in direction that puts you in a better place than you were just an hour ago. From my heart to yours, namaste. Thanks again for joining me. There was one other stretch that I meant to incorporate and I forgot. So since this is kind of a segmented type practice, I'm going to show it to you. It's probably familiar to you all. You begin prone with your arms in a T-shaped position. Okay, so if you have really sensitive shoulders, this might not be the best stretch for you. If you've got a fairly healthy shoulder, then you might find this useful for helping to stretch the pecs. I thought about it when we were doing the sideline opening. This is just another way to access it. So my left arm is long, my right hand becomes my kickstand. I'm drawing my abdominals up, and I lift my right leg a bit and start to rotate gently onto that left shoulder. My right foot can plant, and I can simply pause here and breathe here. Getting just a slight mobilization through that left shoulder. And then come back to the center. Find your T-shaped arms again. This time my left arm will be my kickstand. My left leg will pick up and I'll gently roll onto my right shoulder. That left foot can plant and I can breathe here. I can tell my right shoulder is up. It just is a little bit more limited because it's my dominant side. It's probably a bit shorter, tighter. Nice. And then come back to your center. Find those arms nice and wide again. Just kind of pause there. And then bring your hands under your shoulders.